BCTF, and also past Langley Teachers Association President. Ken is currently the chair of the BC Labour Heritage Centre and has been the driving force for Connie Jervis and the Langley Teachers Association to get the recognition they deserve. So Ken.
I think I might need the mic, but first of all, let me say, Peggy and Barb, your words were great, and the story you told, you added so much to it. It was just really great to hear that. I really enjoyed that. And one point you might have mentioned was that not only your mother, but your father was also president of the Langley Teachers Association. So both of them. Anyway. It's a great story, and it gets better all the time. And you certainly provided a real, I think, important social context for what was going on at that time, what life was like, in Langley, and what they had to contend with. It's really a great pleasure for me to participate in this recognition of Connie and the teachers that stood by her through this important struggle. Both because, this happened over 75 years ago. It's a long time ago. But it's still important, and it's important for us to know that there were people like this who were prepared to stand up and fight for their rights. This has been going on for a long time. It continues to go on as we know today. That we have to do that in order to be able to have the kind of salaries and working conditions that we feel are fair and just. So I did want to say also that I did know Connie as well, and of course I knew Roger very well. He actually hired me back in 1971. And I actually arranged for Connie to speak at an LPA meeting in 1988. I have a picture of her and me in front at that point in time. I realized that was exactly 50 years after she was first elected president of the LPA. And she gave a terrific speech, as I'm sure she would know. And I think that what she represents is a very early and strong representation of strong leadership. Strong leadership for our local, at a time when we clearly needed it, but the kind of strong leadership that stands out in many other dimensions as well. Not only was she the president of the LTA, a woman, in 1939, not very common for women to be in leadership positions at that time. It was 15 years after that before we had a woman president of the BCTF. Although women were certainly becoming very active in the Federation and in associations, it was very significant. But not only that, she was 24 years old, and that's why it made such a fantastic story. That's really, the courage of that. In 1939, there weren't very many women in leadership roles anywhere. And when I was doing my research for the article that I wrote for the teacher, I spent a day in the Langley advanced offices looking at microfiche. That wasn't one of my favorite days. That's really hard to do. But I was blown away by the attacks that these teachers took. Not only from the school board, from other community leaders, from the media. Everybody, it seemed, was against them. They pretty much were on their own. They had the BCTF, as Peggy said, which was great. But in this community, very conservative community, that was a very, very significant challenge. So, on reflection, and Glenn referred to it, it's really timely that this unveiling is actually happening this week, at the same time that the teachers across BC are dealing with fighting for their rights as well, that have been denied them for so long and through the courts. There is a parallel in both cases. Teachers standing up fighting for their rights, and in both cases, teachers won. And I think that's absolutely terrific. So I think we need to salute Connie Jervis and 37 other teachers who stood with her Of the 38 teachers who stood in protest against the board's actions and the board's refusal to go to arbitration and so forth, 35 of them were women. That's amazing. It really is an early example of women in leadership in our organization. It stands not only as an early example of leadership in the Langley Teachers Association and in the BCTF, but it also stands out as a very important event in the labor history of this province overall. It was a very significant event, and it remains a great story of courage. The BC Labour Heritage Centre is committed to finding ways and means of recognizing the important contributions that working people like Connie have made to the building of this province. Our Vignettes with Knowledge Network was one way we did this, and now we're doing it with this plaques project, where we're putting up plaques around the province. We're actually doing 5 teacher plaques this year in the 100th anniversary of the BCTF. We pay, the Labour Heritage Centre pays for 2/3 of the cost, so I want to acknowledge other organizations that help with the funding of these plaques. The Vogue Foundation, WorkSafe BC, contribute to each plaque that we put up. And in the case of teacher plaques, the BC Retired Teachers Association makes a contribution of $1,000 to every plaque, teacher plaque in the province. And Barb Nicolette from the BC Retired Teachers Association is here somewhere. I want her to be recognized. She's from the And I want to talk a bit in my concluding remarks about another thing that the Labour Heritage Centre does. We have an oral history program. And I think it's really important for organizations, unions, and organizations like the LTA, a large local, the BCTF, to have an oral history program. You have a number of past presidents here. Each of them has a story to tell about their experiences during the time. Terry here would have great stories to tell about their time in office and the experiences that they had. And that should be a matter of record. You know, it's only 4 years before we celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Langley Teachers Association, 1921, when it was founded. So it would be good. I would like to encourage people who are active in the LTA or past presidents to get together and start an oral history program for the Langley Teachers Association. Start recording some of the things that have happened in our experiences, you know, while we're still around. Anyway, the last thing I wanted to say was I wanted to conclude by thanking the Langley Teachers Association for taking on the installation of this plaque. It's really been fun working with my local, working with Wendy and with Gail. It's been really terrific. So thank you very much for that. And also thank you to Connie's family, particularly Peggy, for helping put this whole thing, to give life to this whole thing about Connie's experience and what she did. It really was terrific. So thank you very much. And as I said, it's a truly great story that holds an important place in the history of the Langley Teachers Association and the BCTF, and indeed in the history of BC. So thank you.
So that reaches the end of our presentations. I would like to thank everyone for joining us here today. What a wonderful way to honor such an important difference maker in Langley. To end with, I would like to have Connie's daughters come help us cut the cake that was made with a beautiful picture of their mom. People also can take pictures with the plaque now. And we have David Sanquist. I'd like to thank David. He's been taking pictures of the event today. So if you want some pictures, we can probably get that to you. So